Hey, how's it going YouTube? Welcome to another video. I'm Landon, and have you ever reminisced about cartoons you watched as a little kid? Well, I grew up in the 90s, so this right here is a list of the top 10 cartoons from the 90s. But first, let me ask you all this. What is your favorite cartoon or TV show from when you grew up? So getting right into it, at number 10, this show aired from 1991 all the way to 2004, and I'm talking about Rugrats. It was an American animation for Nickelodeon, created by Arlene Klasky. The focus of the show was a group of toddlers and their day-to-day lives, usually involved common life experiences that become adventures in the babies' imaginations. Adults in the show were usually unaware to what these babies were up to. It was like they had their own world. The main characters was Tommy, Chucky, Phil, and Lil, the twins. And then you have, if you want to call it the villain, Angelica. The show stopped airing in 1994, but then came back in 1997. And that's when they came out with Rugrats the movie. And they added new characters like the popular one Dill, who is Tommy's newborn little brother. In the number 9 spot, it had characters with crazy names like Yakko, Wacko, and Dot. Do you know what I'm talking about yet? It's time for Animaniacs. Where's Annie to the max? So just sit back and relax, and you'll laugh till you collapse. It's Animaniacs. Come on, do you guys not remember that? And I bet you some of you were singing along. Well, this show ran from 1993 all the way to 1998. The executive producer of the show was Steven Spielberg. He created 99 episodes. And I wonder why he didn't just do one more to 100. The show was distributed by Warner Brothers Television. This was a comedy show mixed with old-fashioned wit and often made references to pop culture and cartoon violence. Animaniacs often covered topics like mathematics, history, science, astronomy, geography, and social studies. Up next to number 8. Don't ask me about this one, but let's just say I had 2 sisters growing up. And this actually became my favorite TV show to run home from school on lunchtime to watch. I'm talking about Sailor Moon. Fighting evil to the moonlight. Okay, Before I get way into it, this show started in 1995 and ran all the way to 2000. It was a magical action adventure of a teenage girl who learns of her destiny as a legendary warrior, Sailor Moon, and she must band together other sailor soldiers to defend the Earth and the galaxy. This was originally a Japanese cartoon, but then it just became so popular around the world. And then you have little boys like me who just couldn't miss an episode. I don't really know if I've talked about this show or if I just shared an embarrassing moment with all of you. Move it, football head. Can you guess who I'm talking about? He's a football head. Hey Arnold! With an exclamation mark. Yes, that exclamation mark actually exists. This show ran from 1996 all the way to 2004, having 100 episodes. You hear this, Spielberg? They completed 100. It was about the everyday life of Arnold, a 4th grader in a nameless city that kind of resembles Brooklyn, New York. He lives in a multiracial boarding house with his grandparents. Arnold, he was voiced by 3 different people. So here's a few fun facts for you about the show. You never actually knew what happened to Arnold's parents. His last name was never mentioned, but it's Shortman. And this was the first ever Nickelodeon cartoon to be voiced by kid actors. And coming in at number 6, Real Monsters. And yet again, the is actually part of the name, which is, let's just go with this one. So this show ran from 1994 to 1997. This show takes us through the struggles of a life of a child monster. 3 monster friends are studying how to scare humans in school. The characters in this show is just so amazing. My favorite one was that guy who held the eyeballs and he just looks around. It was a little bit weird. There was a purple monster with really big ears. He looks like the anorexic version of like Stitch from Lilo and Stitch. The producers of this show was Gabor Cuspo and Peter Gaffney, which is the same creators who created Rugrats and Duckman. Now we have Pinky and the Brain at number. This cartoon was amazing. I just couldn't stop watching, and I'm so sad that they don't even play it anymore. Well, it was about a genius mouse and his stupid sidekick that tries to conquer the world each and every night. Little do they know how big the world actually is. Pinky and Brain are genetically enhanced laboratory mice. Brain is self-censored and scheming. Pinky is a good-natured, but is feeble-minded, which is the terms used on someone who has a mental illness or deficiencies in the mind. So the show was also short-lived. It ran from 1995 all the way to 1998. This was the first animated series to be presented in Dolby Surround Sound, and it's the 4th collaboration of Steven Spielberg. It just seems like whatever Steven Spielberg touches it turns to amazing. Moving up the list to the number 4 spot, and this is actually one of the most successful cartoons in the 90s. Can you guess what I'm talking about? Well, I'm talking about Arthur. Every day when you're walking down the street and everybody that you meet has an original point of view, and I say, hey, hey, what a wonderful kind of day. Alright, enough of the singing, back to the facts. Or do you guys want me to continue singing? No? Okay. So that theme song was one of my most favorite theme songs in a cartoon. And this show aired in 1996 and is now currently working on its 19th season. So yes, Arthur is still running. Arthur is one of the longest running TV shows on PBS Kids, behind only Sesame Street. So this show is the adventure of an 8-year-old boy who has to deal with life problems. And oh yeah, also, he has a really annoying sister called DW, and she has an imaginary friend. So what beats Arthur is Dexter's Laboratory. So this comes in at number... So this show aired in 1996 all the way to 2003. There was 78 episodes. It's about Dexter, who's a boy genius with a secret laboratory. I mean, this is what every little boy wants, right? So inside the laboratory, he has a lot of amazing inventions. But he constantly fights with his sister Dee Dee. Is this like a common theme to have the sister as this annoying thing? So for some reason, she always finds a way into his locked laboratory. And Dexter has a worst enemy who is Mandark. He is also another nerdy boy genius. So a lot of these episodes actually came from the comic book series. Dexter became so popular that directors turned it into a movie. Years later, 2013, they came out with another episode. And this episode was called Rude Removal. In the episode, Dexter creates a rude removal machine. And this is to get rid of Dee Dee's really annoying and rude thing about her. However, the episode didn't air. And that was due to the swearing in it, although it was censored. Now at number 2, yeah, Dragon Ball Z! So this show ran from 1996 all the way to 2003. After learning that he was from another planet, a warrior named Goku and his friend are prompt to defend it from an onslaught of extraterrestrial enemies. So this is a Japanese anime. So originally this was a book that was published in 1988 all the way to 1995. Dragon Ball Z made its first appearance in Japan in 1989. The show ended in Japan, but it became so popular around the world, it started airing everywhere. In the original Japanese version, there was a lot of swearing. So the version that we all know, it's a lot different. They had to cut away a lot of stuff. They had to censor it. They had alternate endings. They even had to change character names. In the original Japanese version, there was this guy named Mr. Satan. Well, they changed his name, so now his name is Hercule, but in secret, they made his last name Satan. So Dragon Ball Z was so popular, it got turned into a video game for Atari. And finally, we have made it to the number 1 spot. For me as a kid, I just couldn't miss an episode of this cartoon. And I'm talking about... Well, there you have it. That was the top 10 best cartoons of... Wait, what? What are you guys complaining about right now?
Oh my god, Landon, the video cut out at number 1. What was the number 1 best cartoon from the 90s? I didn't just watch this whole friggin' video to not even know what number 1 was.
Whoa. Look at these comments right here. Are you guys serious? The video cut out? Alright, whoa. Let's go back a little bit. The number 1 cartoon for me growing up in the 90s was a cartoon called Reboot. This amazing cartoon aired from 1994 all the way to 2002. Reboot is a Canadian CGI animated action-adventure television series. Try saying that 10 times fast. It was produced by a Vancouver-based production company. The story takes place in a computer world called Mainframe. A Guardian program sprite and his friends defend the system from threats. It has a lot of action in it and a lot of characters. Well, there you guys have it. That was the top 10 cartoons from the 90s. Were you guys surprised of any of these cartoons that were on the list, or surprised of any cartoons that didn't make the list? Let me know. And also, don't forget to tell me what top 10 do you guys want to see next. Okay, I'll see you guys in the next video. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. This was a whole lot of fun. It really brought me back to the 90s, reminiscing of all these cartoons. I really enjoyed the research, and I hope you guys really enjoyed it as much as I did. If you did, don't forget to share it around and hit that like button. And subscribe as well, because next week is a new video. So I'll see you guys then. Bye.